You know a painting's done when it doesn't need you anymore. The way that I approach painting now is I started older. I said I would. I'm doing it. And I'm going to paint what I want to paint, the way I want to paint. But within the boundaries of what makes a painting good, what makes a piece of art good, and working with the elements of painting, color and texture and form and shape. How I work is I'm with a model on the Zoom, and I make a gestural drawing, and then I look at that and decide how that fits in the composition. And then the next week I bring out the same piece and look and see what I can incorporate into it from that session. And so over time, these paintings build like you build collage with paper or fabric. And at the work center, I had a returning residency, and so I painted blue, the painting behind me, while I was also working on collage paintings and collage drawings. And the way I really feel about my practice is, and it's something I've been wanting for a long time, is about sometime last year I realized that I wasn't painting or drawing like anyone else anymore. That you couldn't look at my stuff and go, oh, that looks like a or a and it really was mine. So this is 48 by 48 inches. The material is walnut oil, which is a combination, all paint is a combination of pigment and carrier. And the walnut oil paint has mostly linseed and walnut oil and no solvents. So as you can see, it goes on really thick, right? And really dense. This material has been layered. I had a bright pink underpainting for no reason at all, but I wanted it. And then I kept layering and layering over different sessions. For example, this is the face of the model Sam, but this body is a man. And this arm and shoulder here also was a third model. Well, I studied Hoffman while I was working at Berta's because all of his students, or many of his students, are represented by her. And a lot more than people realize, Brenda Horowitz, and then my teacher, Robert Henry and Paul Resica, are just a few. And they all talked about this push-pull thing, and I went, what's push-pull? When I realized what it was, which is the foundation of modern art, moving away from 1 or 2 point perspective into that the surface is the thing, or what they call plasticity. A very big fancy word for material. But the paint became the thing with Hoffman. And what he taught people was to go from formal cubism into action painting through the figure. And by studying him, that's what I did too. So really, Robert Henry introduced me to Hoffman, and I learned from Robert, be free, play. What I learned from Hoffman was, this is not your 1 point perspective. This is life force on a painting. This is form, shape, and color. I wanted the piece to have a presence, and I wanted it to have activity. This action painting activity that happens when you use your whole arm. But I also wanted the painting to have a restraint. So I added the black as a last choice, which is really daring when you have a painting with pink and blue and white, and it's supposed to be a person. There's no real flesh tone in here. And the black was a real aggressive choice, where one time during a drawing session, I literally outlined the figure in the black, and it all came together. The palette is based on R&F pigment stick colors. this incredible blue that I'm so attracted to. White was added to get this more aqua blue. But as you can see, there's many, many layers. And the piece was built up over time. Here, there's brush strokes. Bam, bam, bam. Here, there's my fingers going like this. Here is an RNF pigment stick. Like that. How do you find your own language? How do you find that? And everyone, you know, we have this DNA of making art. It comes out in kids and then it gets squished as you become an adult, of course. But we all have this like way inside of us that we make a mark. And you also see it with people with dance. They have like a certain dance move. Well, I think that happens with drawing and painting too, that people have a way of doing it. And I feel that blue, the painting that we're talking about today, really was that moment. When you start out painting and drawing in with a practice, or at least this is what happened for me, you paint a certain way, you draw a certain way, you use ink a certain way, and the twain don't meet. And then you go, ah, man, I'm like 3 different artists. But if you keep plugging away, what emerges is why you make art. And I make art to show the life force on a piece of canvas or paper through the human figure or through a still life. It's about the life force. And when I really got that, whatever medium I used had the same essence, because it wasn't about the material. It was me through the material, not here's the material and I'm going to figure out what I do with it. So the work comes from inside. And I think when you're learning art, it comes from outside for a while. Oh, I don't know how to use acrylic. Oh, I don't really know how to use oil. Oh my God, what is this? Oh my God, I suck at this. And you go through that whole thing, and you almost have to, because you do need to learn your tools. But once the tools are learned, that's when the essence of the artist starts to appear in all of the work. And so I don't feel that I paint differently than I draw, differently than I collage. It's the same person now. That was a breakthrough. That took years.